So, Linyin, it's been a while since we saw Dawe's message. Have you fully gotten over it?
I think I've gotten over that bitch-ass dev a long time ago. Although, as you can probably tell by now, I can't say that I have fully. As I said before, you honestly don't need to worry. He ain't shit to me.
Well, that's good to hear. I was actually worried you would have a bad mental breakdown, but I'm glad you managed to maintain a bit of control of your composure after seeing the way he disrespected you.
Thanks, Clara. I guess it's the fact that the time we've known each other, you, Jinyue, who I known for the longest, and even Huohuo all seen what I'm really capable of, despite not being a playable character. You know, come to think of it, I feel like Huohuo would have been a great support for me. Maybe because we complement each other so well since we've known each other for years? I know for a fact she would be a better option for me than Luosha, but that's a different topic for another time.
I also noticed that she even has some resemblances to Hu Tao with the ghost theme and her unique eyes. But at the same time, their personalities are completely different.
Yo, I was just thinking the same exact thing. I didn't really pay attention to it till after we finished eating that day and went for a walk around the Alchemy Commission.
We also saw General Jing Yuan training Yanqing at Dragon Prayer Terrace. Huohuo was insisting you to spar with Yanqing as a way to help you keep your mind off your situation and at the same time befriend and get to know him better. It felt like she would have been more sad than you were had you refused, knowing how sensitive she can get at times, since she hates seeing people down. Since you guys are best friends, how can you refuse her? Ever since I first came to the Xianzhou Lofu, I've been hearing a lot about Yanqing and even seen him around a few times. I was thinking it would be amazing to see him fight in person. We also ran into Sushang and Fushuan, who were going on the same boat as us to meet with them as well. The ride there was unlike anything I've ever seen before since in Hirilo 6. It's always cold and snowy, at least in the overworld. I'll tell you more about it one day.
I'm glad Jing Yuan was so nice to us, especially since he knew Huohuo was accompanying us as she introduced us to them. I didn't think it would be that easy to get Yanqing to spar with me since he seemed extremely busy at first. Good thing Jing Yuan saw this as a way for him to boost his confidence and gain more experience.
It was wonderful seeing his unique way of wielding his swords. Also, I remember the fight being mostly ranged with your fiery sword storms, which proves your difference between Hu Tao and the way he levitates and strikes his swords at you from a distance. I also recall him summoning a giant sword by combining all of his other swords as he rains it down from the sky. Although the sword itself didn't hit you, the cold impact from it caused you to have this glowing red aura flowing around you, and your pupils changed into a shape of a butterfly as you start to get more serious in fusing your sword with fire and charging forward, which Yanqing starts getting fatigue as you start with 4 sword strikes that he still manages to block as you did a huge backflip, throwing your explosive tags afterwards, and finish off with a powerful sword storm strike in the form of a butterfly that detonates on the ground. At first I thought you were actually trying to kill him, but good thing Fushuan was there to mitigate the damage in time by a surprising significant amount. But unfortunately, it ended up doing a lot of damage to her in the process. Good thing Huohuo was there to heal the 3 of you. You really had her worried since you were the first person she healed before Diviner Fu and Yanqing just to be safe. I don't know what it is about your power, but that red aura around you made it feel like you were a completely different person.
I was just as shocked as you were that day. At that moment, I didn't think I used that much power. But damn, that's usually enough to kill someone. I usually have good control over my emotions. I don't fully know what it is yet, but I gain a huge power boost when I'm being pressured in intense situations as I start getting more serious, which affected how I was feeling at the time. It's like a strong warrior spirit infusing my entire body with a burning passion. Guess I really felt a strong desire to prove a point to everyone. Huohuo even made a joke later on, after she started feeling better, that I would have been perfect for the Heliobi to take advantage of. But at the same time, I know it's probably true. Good thing everyone ended up being understanding of the situation I was going through. I think this fight relieved most of it looking back at it now. I went to apologize to Yanqing as I showed my respect for him by lending him a hand, and since then, we exchanged phone numbers and became great friends. It was kind of funny thinking about it now how mad Fushuan was, thinking I was crazy for attempting something so dangerous that it nearly killed both her and Yanqing. Jing Yuan decided to have us walk around Scale Gorge Waterscape for him to have a long conversation with me, and a good opportunity for me to get to know Yanqing a lot more as well. He's honestly pretty skilled when you fight him in person compared to the low credit he gets in-game, but he can get cocky at times. Other than that, he has a good future ahead of him as long as he keeps putting in the hard work. Oh, and also, Yanqing was actually impressed with my unique power, which reminded him of the day he lost to Dan Heng and Blade.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Him and Huohuo also explained how he went through something similar that caused a skilled warrior spirit Heliobus to take advantage of him.
Good thing Stella and the rest of the ghost hunting squad managed to put his mind back on the right track. I remember watching that live stream back then. I asked Huohuo to record the fight for me so we can post it on social media. I was also thinking maybe Guinaifen can notice us as well. Xinyue had to take over the camera since Huohuo started getting worried when you had the red aura around you, since she says she has seen it from you before, and started thinking that she made the wrong choice agreeing to have you to spar with Yanqing. Sushang, who was also worried as well, had her guard up preparing to fight you just in case, since she was thinking that you might have been mind-controlled like how Yanqing was on the live stream.
Knowing how Huohuo is, I made sure to apologize for scaring her as well. You know, I explained this before, but she's actually braver than she knows. She has been really helpful for me in a lot of tough fights, which is also why I mentioned that she is truly the best support for me.
Sushang originally requested to spar with Yanqing to gain more experience as well, but this time without Yanqing borrowing someone else's power. But both her and Huohuo ended up deciding to have both you and him spar instead, since they were thinking it would benefit you guys more. Sushang invited Guinaifen to watch the fight, but sadly she had to attend a streamer event that day. She also tried asking Stella and her friends from the Astral Express to join. But at the moment, if I remember correctly, they should be busy getting ready to head to Pen Akoni. So the last resort she had was inviting Fushuan, who surprisingly was somewhat interested. She tried calling Qingque to join her, but she was too busy gambling in Celestial Jade. Qingque instead asked if she could record the fight and send it to her.
Man, I remember one time passing through the Divination Commission 4 months ago. I noticed Qingque running late to assist Diviner Fu when the Matrix of Prescience was being attacked by a big abundance ape as she tripped dropping her jade tiles when she arrived. At that point, I was considering going down to help just in case, but they ended up handling the situation.
You know, in the Honkai Impact 3rd universe, Sushang is actually a 5-star ice character who uses a regular sword and has a somewhat similar fighting style to Yanqing. I was actually thinking she should get a similar treatment in this universe, as well as a 5-star variant like what they did for Dan Heng. Although instead of ice, since we already have Jing Yu, I feel like she should be either an imaginary erudition or maybe a quantum destruction path character, since it could at least give the quantum teams more options. But I feel like imaginary would make more sense for her. Oh, that reminds me. We should start doing vlogs and more storytime videos of our experience. By the way, have you watched the Genshin special program yet?
I did earlier. And as much as I don't like Dawei, I gotta say that Hoyoverse outdid themselves with the Lantern Rite once again. Although it was kinda upsetting for Sean and myself included that Hu Tao won't have a main role like she did for last year when she hosted a feast at the end. But obviously it was to be expected. I heard her mentioning that Miss Farina became one of her new clients. At first I was thinking her and Farina finally met and became friends. But I suddenly realized that she was most likely referring to Focalor, the actual Hydro Archon that died in the Archon quest. Other than her gameplay, I see why Sean enjoys Hu Tao as a character mainly cause of her personality and unique way of speaking. Although she be saying some weird shit sometimes. I understand life has been tough for her ever since she lost her grandfather at around 13. I believe she was at the time which led to her becoming the director of her funeral parlor. I don't know how much money they make, but I also understand that she has bills to pay as well. But I don't think it's a good idea to promote death. Although I understand it's actually a beautiful thing as much as she does as well, she needs to be aware that other people won't have the same perspective as her. She also needs to be careful not to go too far with her pranks. Although the one she did in the story quest was actually reasonable, some people eventually won't want to hang around her anymore, which will end up making her feel lonely.
Well, I've been blessed enough to be in a position where I was finally able to buy my own house. I got extra rooms, I got extra space, and the first person I wanted to call to invite to live here with me is you. What do you say? Me and you live together, we move in together, and we do this shit, bro.
I'm honored, thank you, but no thank you. I have seen the way you act, you're pretty crazy, bro. Nah, I'm good, bro. No thank you. No.
Bro, hold on. You act like I only do that.
I understand what you mean by that, since we have a scammer from our home planet who I mentioned in one of the past videos named Sampo, who literally no one likes.
I remember seeing him from the Fontaine Labyrinth Warriors Archon Challenge idea. He kinda looks like Rise Lee, but actually generous as you mentioned. Oh, but there is one thing about the program that I don't get. What the fuck was the point of Zhongli's amazing promo outfit as his birthday art if it won't be a skin this year?
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
I don't need to explain myself to you. And
What was the reason?
Yeah, I was let down as well when I realized it. I was thinking they would most likely showcase him wearing it as a surprise in one of the cutscenes like they did with Fosa Lores, and the outfit March 7th wore in the Soulworm Festival from back in 1.4, which was cut short after Lady Bronya got into a sticky situation, having to pay a debt to Topaz, who invaded Jarilo 6th against her own will. But knowing how Hoyo is with Genshin at this point, I don't feel like that will be the case. Unless we get something similar to the feast from last year at the end, and we get the surprise then.
What the fuck is this I hear earlier about Huohuo being best support for you? Linyin, you fake gender bent looking Hu Tao people making Hoyola Beach niega.